got to know each other's characters, and that so the four, the psychoanalyst and the three patients headed off to Ravenswood, this town outside of London in the country, where a member of the university, so Elias Crawley, university professor, has been doing some archaeological research, and the university has been hearing some troubling feedback from the events of what's going on, and that Crawley's sort of missives back to the university have become increasingly incoherent and deranged, and an artifact and I think missing and one thing another, and they have suggested that the best person to go and try and sort out what's going on and potentially curtail any collateral damage to the university's reputation for a famed archaeologist going rogue in the field is this particular professor of psychoanalysis, who appears to have a chair at the university, and we're not quite sure how. And the professor has decided that the three most appropriate people to take on this trip are his three current subjects attending for therapy. And this could be some kind of group therapy expedition. This is going to be a clearly terrifying.
If they their fears at once, they'll see that it's bullshit.
Or we'll find them.
This is clearly going to be an Eldritch Abomination horror campaign of the usual style. We only appear to have one operation style. It doesn't matter whether we're doing Eldritch horror, Gothic horror, high political intrigue.
For us to do a comedy campaign and play it completely straight.
We appear to have Scooby-Doo or Scooby-Doo and Friends.
The Benny Hill thing.
And the Benny Hill thing. Okay. So you've all headed off to Ravenswood. You got dropped on the outskirts of this cobbled sort of town in this forest. It's raining. You have dragged your suitcases, some more suitcases than others, through the town square and out the other side to an inn on the far side of town, called the Forest View Inn. You've had a chat of sorts to the woman who owns and runs that inn, and she has given you...
Not Big Beast. What's your character's name?
Lloyd.
Lloyd.
Big fan.
And Clara Wilkins, and you have 3 rooms. You have one room with a queen bed and not a lot of anything else. And all the suitcases are now around the bed, so you have to sort of scramble to get anywhere in that room. You've got a twin room, and we've got the room with a view, which is an attic that you can barely stand up in, which does have a beautiful view over out north of the town, out to the forest. It's sort of early afternoon. There's nobody else who appears to be staying in this inn. You know that Elias Crawley has a house in the town. He's not staying in the inn. And on your way through the centre of town, you... why is that done that? You know, it's just like, why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that? This one is active, so why is that not active?
Yeah. I try preload a random one and then hit it again.
Weird. It's fine. So you walked past a sheriff's office. You walked past... Pull this one back and just refresh it. You walked past a sheriff's office, what looked like a diner. There were some farmhouses on the way in. You saw a sort of general store. You saw some shops, bits, pieces. So you're currently out here. Caitlin, your room. Sorry, Marjorie, Prep and Pepin's daughter. Your room looks that way. Professor and Merchant Seaman. Your room looks this way, and the room with the view looks sort of this way up into the forest. So you know that there's a sheriff in town. This is the tavern, sheriff's office, bits and pieces, big church. Where do you want to start?
Is that the path that I noticed
yep.
has been grown over?
Yeah, so that's you looked up into that direction. This path you could see from your window going off as paths do into the woods. This one on the opposite side the woods appear to be just as dense where the path goes in as they are on either side. There doesn't appear to be any path through the woods in that direction.
So we wander over and knock on this guy's door, see who's home.
Right, Crowley.
Crowley, oh, that's good place to start, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
We know which house it is?
No.
Lovely.
It's one of those houses.
Sheriff,
Yeah.
Sure.
Sheriff will know. Okay. So you
Before we do this, I start
Okay.
unpacking all of my books onto the dresser,
okay.
and then turning the chair in the corner around so it's a little psychoanalyst office, and then I leave.
Fine, then I can tell the sheriff that I'm going to go shooting, so not that easy job.
So you wander back into town with whatever belongings you consider important enough to carry into town, and you walk back.
I'll slip my revolver out of my bag into my pocket.
Nice.
Can I make some sort of perception check to see you doing that?
Spot hidden.
Squat hidden. Hang on, what was it?
Sleight of hand if you're trying to do it in a particularly
Not
discreet way.
particularly.
No,
Could be
just
something
between.
like that. Not making a sharp song and dance, but
Just failed.
anyway, Doc, we should probably go.
Yeah, you have no idea.
I was going to make a comment about you being paranoid, but
It's yes, it's still raining. It's cleared up a little bit. I might go and just grab your food, Caitlin, if you want to. Do you want to just go and grab your food from the door? Or help get Ella to go with you. I promise I won't do anything without you. Okay. So you see the sheriff's office. It's a small, sort of modest building with a wooden sign that says sheriff's office with a star.
nice.
And inside, if you go in, it smells of wood and coffee. And there's a single desk piled high with papers and a small map of the town up on the wall. Behind the desk, there's a woman, quite wiry, early 40s, quite sharp eyes, wearing a very practical looking sort of sheriff's uniform with trousers. Marjorie will be horrified. In the 1920s.
How modern.
I'm not talking to her. Yes, most immodest. And it is a female sheriff. And a worn leather duster. And she looks up and she
Like a
goes,
tan-coloured duster.
yeah. And a hat with a star on it. Sheriff. She has a little badge that has Sheriff Eleanor Gray, like a little name badge. You think there might be a desk sign, but it would be completely buried under all this paper. So it looks like there's a lot of, certainly a lot of paperwork, a lot of work for a small backwater town.
Sheriff Gray, we're colleagues of Elias Crowley. We were wondering if you could let us know where we could find them.
Crowley.
Yes.
What do you want with Crowley?
He's a member of our university at the University of Edinburgh. We were just sent here to bring him back.
So you've been sent here by the university.
I open my diary and take out my certificate of. I don't know. My master's.
I am genuine.
You're like academic.
Here's my bachelor's. Here's my master's.
Here's my academic
Here's my testimonials from successfully treated patients.
We're old friends of Crowley.
Are they
He
in
doesn't
their
know
frames?
what's coming,
Have you bought them off the wall? Are they
Subject believes his friends with the missing subject. Interesting. Delusional.
Who?
You saying that out loud while you're
Who? Why does the university want Crowley back?
Bring him back.
Here we are.
Oh, I thought we were just to check up on what's going on.
Why are we bringing him back?
I don't know. Whatever.
Oh, I misread the room.
We're not bringing him
No.
back. We're just checking he's okay. There's not been contact for some time.
Do you know what he's up to?
That's why we're here.
Archaeological dig of some sort.
Things have not been as calm as I would like them to be in this town since he arrived. And I am uneasy that the university sees fit to send 4 more people to my town to meet up with him. Things have not been... I've had more work to do since Crowley arrived in town than I have had to do in the last 5 to 10 years.
How does that make you feel? Can I do a psychology check or something?
Yeah, you do a psychology check.
Or some insight?
Yeah, psychology. Psychology would be the right check.
Fail.
That's right.
You think?
Oh, hang on. No, that's 8. Sorry.
So you? What did you? 8?
Yeah.
No, lower the better.
Yeah, sorry.
Not a fail.
Yeah. How
So
does that make
she appears to be furious.
You appear to be furious.
She just looks at you, and then you think, I'm not sure who she's mad with. And it might be me with an 8.
Okay.
She goes, I'm not sure. Have you spend a lot of time in big cities, I would presume, and academic time.
My family had a country house out in the Lake District.
Can I put a hand on the doctor's shoulder and just kind of pull them away from the camera and step forward?
Yeah, go for it.
If you'll pardon me. My friend here is not the most hospitable of people. We just want to talk with Crowley and check he's okay and make sure we're not in any interest of causing any trouble in your town.
There is already plenty of trouble in this town. If you are intending to speak to Crawley, maybe you could bring him here to answer a few questions about some of the things that appear to have been going on since he arrived. This was a relatively quiet posting. I came here from the city. I was done with murder. I have to run my own department. I have had to file 3 pieces of paper in the last 5 years. It's a wonderful job. There's a lovely lake where you can fish. There's a lovely restaurant, one of them. Beautiful. Everybody knows everybody else. It's a relaxing place to be. And then Crawley turned up. And since then, and she just gestures at this desk that's just completely overflowing with papers and one thing and another, and there's like a map stuck up on the wall that has got pins in it and things pinned to it and notes pinned to it.
That sounds stressful.
Pardon?
That sounds stressful. You must be absolutely knackered. And if you wouldn't mind asking, can you tell me some of the things that have been going on? We're just curious. It's we're here to check on it.
She pulls out a map. Do you like a map?
Absolutely.
Love the map. Handouts.
Oh, yeah, we're playing on proper handouts. There you go. You can have a map. Take a map and pass on the map.
Take one.
This is like proper school, this is. This is the map of my quiet backwater town where I have had nothing more than the occasional over-enthusiastic holiday maker in 5 years. The X's on this map, the X's on the map, are places where people have vanished, disappeared, missing, without a trace. Do you know the amount of resource it takes to do a missing persons inquiry? You wouldn't. You're an academic from a university. You have never had to work a day in your life. And she's like on a roll. She is pissed. You don't need a psychology check to know that she is cross.
Subject appears
enraged. The crossing. People missing, disappearances, without a trace. I have people coming to my office demanding updates. And she's like gesturing at all this paper that's everywhere. I have nothing to tell them. The circles, just the circles are there's blue O's. You can see them up there. Attacks. Animals. Completely out of keeping. Packs of dogs roaming. The countryside. The raccoons, aggressive raccoons. She's just like,
Have raccoons, eh?
yes,
There you go.
yes. She is completely sure this is a raccoon.
Okay.
A raccoon.
I
You
can
could go.
probably help with the animal that.
Can I?
Okay,
I'm an avid hunter.
excellent.
Six or more.
And she gestures at the O's on the map and goes, "There, hunt them then. Hunt them." Townsfolk have been going missing, including 2 young students here doing an internship with Crawley. Went up to the dig site, haven't been seen since.
Is that Irina Voss?
No, she's a professor. You don't know
Where's
who
the
those would be.
site?
She gestures. You see them travelling out that way. I've not been out there myself. I've seen some tents and things from a distance.
I noticed the trees have both grown and part in that direction. Has that happened recently?
Oh, not at all. The path goes straight through the forest there.
I was looking before, it looked like it was grown over part.
Well, you should look closer because the path runs through the forest the way it has always been.
Sheriff, how do you know Crowley is the one responsible for this?
Because Crowley came from the outside. He came. He set up a house in this town and started talking in the diner about digs and artifacts and archaeology and driving enthusiasm into that. And then after that, things. Did you know a raven flew straight into the window of the diner? We haven't seen a raven in this town
Superstitious.
in years, and flew straight through the town, across the square, and head first into the window of the diner.
Oh, birds don't have the same kind of mental acuity that we humans have. It's comical. I had pigeons falling into my windows all the time.
Maybe Crowley
Pigeons.
just uncovered something unnatural.
Maybe Crowley's
All completely natural.
It is more likely it is completely natural, and that Crawley is in himself causing most of the disturbance
It
for
would
some.
appear you have a fear of outsiders. Would that be accurate to say?
I have a fear of people coming into my town and making me work.
Sheriff, we would be willing to take some of this work off your hands if you would let us. We have an interest in finding Crowley as well, of course. Would you be willing to allow us to conduct our own investigation and attempt to find him?
With pleasure. And she basically just starts lifting piles of stuff and just dropping them. And she's like, Mirror Holloway, teenage seamstress, last seen leaving the textile mill where she works, hasn't been seen since. Duke, the fisherman went out to the lake as his usual thing, seen heading off onto the lake, hasn't been seen since.
What's the fisherman's name?
Gareth Thorne. And she goes to her thing and she pulls out a big pile of paper. Gareth Thorne! Fisherman!
Do I know a Gareth Thorne?
Pardon?
Do I know a Gareth Thorne? Can I roll something to see if I
You could roll history.
It is. History is a thing. I have 5% chance. No. That's a 96. I've never heard of any fisherman named Thorne, you liar!
So you're just like, I'm a merchant seaman. Like, I've sailed ships with goods across to New York and back. This tin boat fisherman in this tiny backwater lake. Evelyn Rosemont, she was a waitress at the Raven's Roost across the square. She was last seen serving drinks to a stranger who insisted on sitting alone. Like, that's the most suspicious thing in the world.
People enjoy solitude. It's particularly unusual.
She ignores you and goes on to talking to Lance and Marjorie. And she left to walk home, never arrived. There was this salesman. He stayed briefly at the Forest View. They may still have his belongings behind the desk there. He came as a travelling wares. He was last seen leaving the inn complaining of terrible nightmares and things watching from the window. Hasn't been seen since. This is not good for our business economy. Do you know how much work? Companies wanting to know where their people have got to. I have no idea. And she throws it at them. It's just like papers everywhere. She's frazzled.
Where are you going to get?
Okay.
Can you give us his address?
Of the travelling salesman?
No, of Crowley.
She points at the map. So she's like, Crowley has rented this house on the southern outskirts of town. And she just keeps throwing things. So every one of these, every one of the zeros and X's, she gives you a file. So she's like, here is all my work, all my notes, and I have got nowhere. And it's him. I tell you, it's him.
Do you know where he is at the moment?
Well, he'll either be there or he will be at the dig site. I have not seen him myself today.
Wonderful. So, we knock on his door. Sure. Not a bad place to say.
Okay.
We'll look at this travelling sales.
Before we leave, I'll suggest a calming tea and some breathing exercises.
You can roll persuade or charm or psychology to know how that was taken.
Oh no. Is that 100 or is that 10?
That's 10.
Okay, cool. I'd like to persuade with the 10.
She sort of.
I'll produce a little. I've got a little pouch with some tea bags in it.
She
It's prune flavored.
she goes. Thank you. That is very kind. I have not slept for a number of days. Trying to
explain it. If you need any help with the sleep, and I'll slide my business card onto the table.
She takes the business card.
Trying
Trying to get some business.
I'm running a failing clinic here, alright?
Who is it?
She takes the business card and she goes, it'll be useful to be. There you go, see? Marshall for that's freaky. It'll be useful to be able to keep a tab on you, obviously by letter. She by letter. Yeah. Be able to keep tabs on you. It's like it's not got your email address and your mobile phone number on it, so it's like my postal address.
It's like the Lowry Streets suites on whatever. Where do I live again?
Piccadilly Lane.
Yeah.
Piccadilly
I don't know
Lane.
any names of any streets in Edinburgh, so.
And she sits down and she goes, maybe some tea would be a good idea. And as she sits down, the office looks like somebody burgled the joint, where she's just been throwing case files and stuff. And you have access, should you want it, to all of her information for every O and X on the map.
Awesome.
There isn't a huge amount of information, but she can tell you what that. She's just like, don't talk to me about it anymore. You're heading over to Crowley's house.
Yeah.
So over to Crowley's house. So you walk across.
Is it still raining?
No, the sky's cleared up. It's hardly sunny. You wouldn't be sunbathing in this weather. But no, it's no longer raining.
That's a good sign.
The cobbles are slightly muddy and slippery. There's a well in the centre of the town square.
Can I flip a coin into the well?
Feel free.
I flip a coin into the well.
I'll look at the well with vague unease.
Okay.
Somebody puts their head out of it and goes, "What are you throwing in our water?"
Wait, someone's in the well?
No,
Oh.
Somebody's in this house on the square, looking out the door, going, "What are you doing, throwing stuff in our well? Who are you?"
Nice to good coins, Doc.
It's good luck. For someone
Not-
so superstitious, you hardly believe in luck.
Not if you have to drink the water and you choke to death. It's not. And she slams the door.
How provincial.
Drinking from a well. How provincial.
So you head over to Dr. Crowley's house.
Come to a nice thing.
You will make it. Okay, I remember that. There's this sort of broken. It's this sort of big wooden house, much bigger and sort of would have been grander than the other house around here. Sort of big, high sort of ceilings, curved, beautifully sort of carved wooden window frames, peeling paint, and this sort of overgrown yard. It's like a rundown Airbnb. The door is slightly ajar,
That's not a good sign.
and you don't immediately see anybody.
Gun out, I'll head inside it.
It's hardly a way to start a conversation.
Hello,
I'll put the gun down, but still in my hand.
Going home.
I don't like this.
As you sort of shout through the door just creaks out.
An old house thing, just very likely to do that.
You
Should we split up and look for clues?
Sounds good.
Yes, please, let's
Alright,
split
let's
up.
go, gang.
please let's split up.
Right, Who's my partner going to be?
We're splitting up.
Okay.
This is smart. You can
All
never
by ourselves.
I'll head inside.
Okay. So as you walk in, the door slightly ajar. It smells really musty. It smells really musty on this floor. There's books and papers just scattered across the floor, and you can see on this floor there's what looks like a study, and there's a broken oil lamp just lying on the desk. There's bookshelves cluttered, books half out, open, closed, papers shoved into bits. You can never find anything in here. It looks like there's ancient tomes, and then scribbled and handwritten texts, and then there's bits of stone and bits of things that look like they've been dug up, and dirt just sort of scattered on this desk.
Hardly a tidy man.
Hardly a tidy.
I might head for his bedroom.
He would not have got on your ship.
I'm heading to the library.
Not the study?
Yeah,
study or
they're
library?
the same.
It's the same.
So, and that's the big. So what would have been?
And it said bookshelf.
Sorry, what would have been? Here you go. There. What would have been the drawing room
Yeah.
of the sort of ground floor of this big house is basically just all study. So it's just bookshelves, huge big desk, completely covered in stuff,
That's what
with a broken lamp. It looks like he was worked here by the light of an oil lamp. There's just stuff everywhere.
Is there a second floor?
Yes.
I'll go upstairs.
Okay.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Okay.
You can tell a lot about somebody by what they keep in their bathroom.
Okay. Okay. So.
I add that to my notes of something to keep in mind. Fascinating. You psycho analytic experiences.
You look around and you are unable to identify a bathroom on this floor of the
So we
house.
didn't even go to the bathroom.
My dear friend, I think you'll find there's a bathroom up.
The bathroom.
Or it could be outside.
For a house this size, a bit brother.
It's an Airbnb, high quality Airbnb. This place. There is no bathroom on this floor of the house. You're going upstairs, so you two are going upstairs.
Bedroom looks like it's on this floor.
It looks like there's like a cot in this room. So it looks like, assuming this is Crawley's room, it looks like everything is in here. So he's got like a cot with a sort of blanket in a corner, a desk, books and papers everywhere. So it looks like he spends most of his / all of his time.
We're welcome to explore the same room together.
I head upstairs. Hauling my wooden leg up each and every single step. Doof, 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 to get away from the doctor.
Life continues.
Okay. Do the downstairs first, Professor. Spot hidden, if you're searching.
Could I use my library use to try and find books? To try and get a vibe on what he's studying?
Yes,
What tones he's
you
reading?
can indeed.
I will feel bad and head back downstairs.
Are we all going spot in?
Pardon?
Are we all going spot in?
Yeah, so if you're investigating upstairs, then it would be spot hidden. You're investigating a bathroom / trying to find a bathroom. Spot hidden.
I will do downstairs actually. I'll feel bad and hop it.
Clunking back
I
down
just
in the
like-
other direction. Okay.
I raise my cane towards you in a little nod of appreciation.
That's success on spot hidden.
Okay.
And library use.
Okay. So you are, you find a couple of things. So there's a strange carved wooden box, which is empty, but there's these sort of odd dark stains within it and down the sides.
Are they reddish stains?
Just dark. There's some claw marks by the window frame looking out on the front of this property. There's some sort of claw marks. You see scrawled across the desk, "The forest, too late, it knows." I'll find you your books in a second. And then there's, you can have handouts. You find the last page of what appears to be a journal.
Should I read it?
You can read it if you want to read it.
The artifact found beneath the earth was not of this world. That's fine. I'll just read it out normally because I can't.
Okay.
It's carvings. They speak in ways I cannot understand, but I feel them. The presence is growing stronger. The locals believe I have disturbed the forest spirit, but they do not understand. I can hear whispers now, voices from another place, calling me. It is almost as if the artifact itself has awakened something ancient. The forest is restless. Last night I saw strange lights hovering above the trees, not of human making. I am terrified, but must continue the work. What I have discovered must be shared, but will anyone believe me?
You know, if I had to make a delivery of goods on a ship that was driving me to indescribable madness, I'd simply stop and do something else. Academics are very strange.
Very good friend.
You find
sorry.
you find scribbled on so in the drawer of the desk there's a note.
The forest. Too late. It knows. I can feel it moving, whispering, like a tide of shadow. There is no escape now. I have seen the eyes watching from the trees. There is no turning back. Ominous. Great work of fiction.
And then roll a luck check and we'll see what books you manage to find.
How do we...
100 or D20?
So
Oh, that's actually against our luck score, is it?
against your luck.
Oh.
Is that both of us?
Yep, if you're both looking.
Success.
Success. Just. One off.
12.
Okay, there is a book which is in it is in English, which is fortunate, called Azathoth and Others. Edward Darby, 1919. Okay.
Does this name
You would know from your academic name. You can roll Cthulhu Mythos, which I think you would have to crit on, so you'd have to get a 0.
Help with this?
You could roll
Maybe
library
if I've come
use.
across this book in the library.
Yeah,
Can I make a roll on Cthulhu Mythos?
you can.
That's a 40. So that's a success.
You have heard about Edward Darby. That this is nonsense. This would be something studied by practitioners and believers in the occult, and you have had no bar of it. This is in a section of the library that you have not visited.
This is what Edward Lear is to the poetic tradition. Nonsense.
Nonsense. What did you Cthulhu Mythos?
Fail.
Fail.
56,
You don't recognise this book. From your academic studies and your research, you know that if you were studying this book, this is going to take you a week's worth of study. This isn't something you can flick through and get anything out of. This is a week's worth of study.
Are there any dog-eared
pages?
Emma.
Not that you can tell. This appears to be a really ancient tome.
Yeah.
You don't think there's anything specific that you can identify that's been marked within this book. Did you both succeed on a luck check?
Yes.
The other book you find is and it looks like almost like a reprint, almost like a pamphlet, like a hand drafting. That's just been sort of loosely bound, and it's just entitled Cthulhu. in English translation by Laban Shrewsbury.
I'm not going to try and spell that.
Laban Shrewsbury.
Can I flip it open?
You can flick it open. Yeah, you can flick it open.
Yep.
You roll.
I'll put my.
Roll d6.
3.
Okay, so you lose 3 sanity points.
Yay!
You see, just on opening this appears to be notes. You would look at this as being a published working draft, or an early copy of a pre-published work.
Yeah.
Quite rare, maybe valuable in that sense. But just looking at the way it's written and the pictures and the diagrams, there is something in this that challenges your fundamental beliefs on what is normal and what is superstitious, and you snap it shut and
Poppycock!
Poppycock.
Can I take a look at the book the doctor has
Go
shown
for your
us?
life.
It's nonsense. I don't think it would be healthy to your psychological progress.
I'll give him a suspicious look and then I'll crack it open.
Okay, so you roll Cthulhu Mythos.
42, so far.
So roll 1d6.
Who would have seen this? 4.
So you lose 4 sanity points. And the very first thing you look at is what seems to be a picture from your nightmares, from when you were under the water, from the thing you couldn't describe, the thing that nobody believed that you saw, the thing that left you landlocked and unable to go to sea, is drifting through the pages of this book. It's not a picture, it's not a diagram, it's just through the book.
Is there there's not a fireplace here, is there?
No,
There's
not.
an oil lamp.
There's an oil lamp, which is all over the desk.
Probably not that extreme. But I will definitely, I'll chuck that down onto the ground and kind of just look about the place, waiting for something to happen.
Okay. You hear skittering and tapping on the windows outside, but in here it's completely silent and still. You just see dust.
As I see you paranoid, like looking out the window, I put a hand on your shoulder.
Ah!
Upstairs. In the bathroom, there is a small vanity with a small, with a sort of a hairbrush with a silver backing, all very neatly laid out. Sort of, you would immediately recognise these as a sort of a woman's vanity case. Dressing, there's some white powder. And some sort of charcoal sort of type eye makeup. You would think that it is largely cheap and of inferior quality to what you are used to. You can see nothing in this bathroom that says man in any description. There is a bath. There is not a shower. There is a bath, clawed feet, spotlessly clean.
Very different to what's downstairs.
There you go, Marjorie.
Alright.
Or those other Professor
Um,
Arena.
There is an equivalent room. Food's in here. There's an equivalent room on this floor, and the door here is closed. And you notice as you come up the stairs, it seems less dusty, like somebody's swept up here. But you can't particularly hear anything.
Galen's also
I'm
And how does that make you
So there's just So this door's locked.
Oh, it's locked. Isn't
Yep.
it? Okay. Well, how many times they also try to unlock it?
You probably kick the door down.
Yeah, I was thinking I probably will just do that, but I'd rather not if I don't have to. Locksmith, I've got 1% chance on that.
Oh,
So
that's
easy.
I might, yeah, I think I'll just try to kick the door down.
I'm paranoid downstairs and I'm like, we must remain very quiet.
Okay, so what do I roll for that? Strength or?
Yeah, it would be a straight, strength check.
That's pass.
Okay. The door flies in, and sitting in this room, like this, is a woman in her sort of 60s, very well dressed, ever so slightly dishevelled, sitting at a desk, which is also piled with papers, but much neater than the office that you saw downstairs, going, hello?
Oh, my apologies.
I was not executed. We'll pause there. There's this crash and the splintering sound as the as the door flies in, and there's a woman in her sort of mid 60s, you'd think, sitting there behind a desk, looking preoccupied, but intelligent, and has got just looking at you. She's got dark brown hair, streaked with grey, sort of tied back in this sort of loose bun. There's strands everywhere. She's got dark circles underneath her eyes, and she's sort of slightly stooped over this desk. She's got sort of high collared blouse. It's just good afternoon.
I'm terribly sorry, ma'am. I thought this house was empty. I knocked on the door when I came in, and we were looking, me and my companions were looking for Professor Crowley.
What do you want with Elias?
The professor that I'm with apparently has been tasked to go find what's happening with him because he hasn't been responding to the university.
I'm sure he hasn't. He's not been back here for some time. I've not seen him. Not for some time. No.
Do you know what kind of work he's been doing?
You just generally from downstairs, you heard this door crash, something, and then it's gone very quiet. So something's crashed, and it's just all gone very quiet. Are you staying in the bathroom, or are you going?
I'm going down. What did he do?
Pardon?
Oh, great heavens.
I'm gonna roll.
Oh, great heavens! What's the crash? Okay.
I'm gonna roll a listen check to see if I was actually paying attention to the
Crash. Okay.
No, I wasn't apparently. That was an 87.
You have your books and the notes and a desk. You're tidying, probably. Yeah.
I'm happy to say I heard it and just assuming he can handle himself.
Fine. She's sitting there.
I'm picking the door back up.
I assume you have some questions. And I guess I have information, but you should be careful with that. Are you academics? Are you forgive me? Few academics come and kick in my door these days.
No, I'm not
and
academic.
And she started and go, and you're betrothed?
No.
modern ways have passed me by a little. A strange couple you make. She
Right.
just thought, yeah. You should you come in, and if you, or you already have, I guess. And she stands up and she sort of moves some books and some papers. There's some chairs and quite a nice table with like a jug of what appears to be water, and she's like just moving papers and books and things off chairs and goes, sit, yeah, have a chair. Don't take the chair. Other people might come. Yes. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. You're very polite, considering I just damaged your property.
Well,
I'm terribly sorry for that.
yes.
There's something I can do to repay you.
Yes. I have been waiting for somebody, I guess, to come. It was inevitable.
I'll take a seat.
I'll also take a seat, but I'm dragging my chair as far away from this so I can get it. Points to the other one. Sit down.
I would psychoanalyze that if I was there.
If I was there, I'm not sending myself insane with a random tome I found on a bookshelf, I would be psychoanalyzing it. What do you already know? You can spot hidden if you want while you're sitting there, in terms of what this place is like. Sort of spot hidden. What do you already know? You must know what's been going on, otherwise why would you have come? You tell me what you know, and maybe I can fill in some gaps.
I know people have been going missing. There's been some dog attacks, or some animal attacks, and that it kind of all started happening right around when Crowley went to the dig site and started digging some stuff up. So I think he might have dug up some kind of mystery, and I wanted to solve it.
And I think that he's a criminal. Yeah,
It's all one
Same.
big conspiracy. I'm
Same.
thinking ancient aliens.
I know the same things as he does. We're here with a psychoanalyst. The university. I'm just here.
I love how much this thing we had before.
Psychoanalyst.
Hey, not my psychoanalyst.
A
Yeah, we're distancing myself from that therapeutic relationship. Yeah, a psychoanalyst, and she looks at Lance and goes, "Psychoanalyst? Okay, interesting. Who they let into university these days?
Oh, doesn't even know you. Jesus.
So the missing people, the dig site, spot hidden?
Oh no, totally. I rolled that.
No, too high.
Do I?
Okay, so you're like spending most of your time trying to make it very clear that you are not in any kind of a relationship and are completely oblivious to your other surroundings. So long as there's you, there's her, we're not together, there's a psychoanalyst.
We're not even friends.
I don't know where they are. Okay. It's very dim. It's low lighting here. Again, there's an oil lamp on there. Okay. So much to tell. We worked together a long time ago at the university. Elias and I, we found some text, and we translated those. That's one of my particular skills. Elias is more practical, likes digging things up and dusting them. I am more of a library. Okay. and we found some texts. I translated those, a language long dead, difficult to, but depicting what appear to be rituals involving a sacrifice. They talked about bending time and space, and there was descriptions of artifacts, of items of wood and of stone and of obsidian that radiated this unearthly energy. Crowley, I translated them. I thought they were largely works of fictional fantasy or some deranged mind. He became more obsessed. He thought that they were factual tomes with maybe instructions hidden within. He wished to understand what this cult to wield the power and control it himself. I thought we should preserve the artifacts, maybe donate them to the museum in London, where all good artifacts from around the world are housed.
Are completely legally stored.
Legally stored in perpetuity. In perpetuity for the advancement of knowledge. And if there was any truth within these wild rumours, then not provoke any further into this vile darkness within. And then there was one discovery, just one. The thing that came out of the ruin, and it changed everything. Really, it's gone wrong since then.
What can I do wrong?
What was the thing? Is it an alien spacecraft?
Oh,
It doesn't come out of the ruins. That would come from the
yeah.
No, if it's an ancient alien, it's been buried here for thousands of years.
Thousands?
Millions.
No, it's probably
Tens
right.
of millions.
Yes. Okay, but tell us what
What was
What?
was this?
Oh, you're such an articulate young lady. Again, a university type.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm PR trained.
She studied something.
So did you.
The artifact, the relic, I think is part of a larger set of relics. The text referred to the horned one.
Alien with horns.
The horned one. The rituals appear to be rooted in dark magics and necromantic occult. They wish to awaken this one from his slumber and some kind of apocalyptic event. I don't believe these things were ever meant to be discovered. It was my research, Crowley's research, my research. It was a mistake. I'm no longer certain that this is a mere myth. I think it is something far, far more terrifying and older than any civilization that we know. It is. I have not spoken with Crowley for some time. Maybe a week, maybe more. I have kept to my room, and he has kept to his, and we have not really had much to do with one another since then. We have maybe had somewhat of a falling out several years ago, really, a harrowing discovery, a ritual site in Peru. There was a long trip, a terrifying truth that showed that they wished to bring this horned one back into the world. He became obsessed, Crowley. He believed that it would grant him some unimaginable power. It was unthinkable. It would end everything. We argued violently. I had to leave. I severed all ties. I came here. I retired to this house. And it has been my home ever since. I had not seen Crowley until he reappeared here a short while back, and I have largely hidden myself away up here. I want nothing to do with him as far as possible. He won't stop until he gets what he wants. It's far more dangerous now than he ever was before.
Why do you allow him to stay here?
It is difficult. I didn't really allow him to stay so much as he moved in and refused to leave. My work is here, my books are here. I locked the door and I do not wish him to have access to my research and the texts within. I don't wish to help him. He does not bother me anymore. I heard him leave. Maybe a week, maybe 10 days or more. I have not heard him return.
What's your name?
Irina.
Hi.
Dr. Voss. You may have read some of my texts at the university.
I didn't do much reading when I was at university. I was just, on a scholarship.
Well, what field of study? And she leans forward enthusiastically. A doctor of the medical arts.
Not exactly.
This town could need a doctor of the medical arts, indeed. There have been some strange happenings. I fear that indeed would be Crowley. A pre-P teacher. She has. Is there anything more I can tell you? Anything more that?
Are there any of these times that we should have?
Well, I've been writing all that I know to warn the university, and she roots around it, and it's almost like a sort of confessional, letter. Explaining everything I know about what he is planning to do. I can share that with you. I think you need to stop him. I believe that Crowley may have joined the cult and be seeking to bring something into this world. And if the events happening in this town are anything to go by, that would be a most unimaginably awful event.
Oh, thanks for your help.
Yeah, thanks for the help.
Sorry again for the door.
Yep, the bathroom is very spiffy,
It is interesting, but Elias doesn't use the bathroom.
I could tell there were like no beard hairs in the sink.
Huh?
Have you been fed? You said you were locked in here.
I hear him leave, and I absolutely I use the bathroom. And she nods. He goes, "Thank you for your concern."
I do too. So, we doing it?
I'm going to go downstairs and then share this information.
You won't believe what we've found. We've cracked the case wide open.
I cracked something once.
That's a lot better than ours. We've got this note.
And this utterly preposterous book.
I knew it. It's ancient interdimensional aliens.
Oh,
The lady upstairs was talking about it as well. I've been reading about this for years.
Interdimensional aliens in the room with us now.
No. No, most of them are buried.
Yeah, they live in the ground. What's that on
They
that?
just they pop up in certain parts of history and help drive society forward.
Right.
How do you think the pyramids were made?
With grit and hard work.
With grit and hard work.
At least that's what my Oxbridge textbooks told me.
Did you say that was a book?
Oh yes, this utterly preposterous tome, and then I'll put the Cthulhu book on the table in front of you.
I wouldn't.
This one is superstition.
It's got a kick.
He seems very paranoid. I want to see what's in it.
You can roll a Cthulhu Mythos
Which is?
check, which it'll be a D100, but I think your Cthulhu Mythos is 0, so you need to get 0, 0, 0.
Right. And I did it. So.
No?
Nope.
You open the book. Which book are you opening? The Cthulhu book. You open the book and you just get this roll d6.
4.
Okay. You get this overwhelming stench of rotting flesh and brine pouring out of this book. It's absolutely overwhelming. It fills your nose, fills your head. It's like the entire room is replaced with this stench, and that you're not sure. You can almost taste it. Something long rotten under the sea, and you can hear the sound of waves. And you lose 3 sanity points.
Bro, I'm throwing that book on the floor. I'm like, did anybody smell that?
It would appear the subject has some olfactory misdirection.
And the waves. You guys see that?
Yes, I saw it.
Auditory hallucinations.
Something under the way, isn't it?
You didn't see anything in the book. You just
I heard
smelt it and heard it. You didn't see anything in the book.
And he saw it.
You didn't smell anything unless you've looked in the book.
You know, the written word has a remarkable ability to hold sway over our mind. You must not let it win. May I recommend reading some light fiction? I'll take a little pocketbook out of my pocket with some poetry. In the words of Tennyson, you'll find much relief, I believe, and then I'll start reading Break. What is it? The one about the waves crashing against the shore, and I'm like, perhaps not, and then I'll skip to a more nice poem and hand it to you.
Find any good history books in here?
Did I find any good history books?
Not particularly. You found so in terms of mundane books, you found books on archaeological sites around the world. You have found specific notes on you found specific notes on Lima in Peru. You have found notes on Egypt. You have found notes on what appears to be an estate in England. You found some notes about New York. They're all pretty disconnected and unclear. It is. You also find, where is it, in one of these in my collection, notes, you have also found that one. That one.
Such
As a sort of
in Peru.
sort of turned out bit of newspaper pyramids, torn out bit of newspaper cutting, and on the other side is you find an invitation. It's pinned to a bookshelf. It's just like stuck. Which is the letter or the telegram on the other side is sort of pinned. It sits above the sort of detritus of this place.
Where's the invitation to?
The hotel.
Is that date before or after the current date?
After the current date.
Oh, how far after?
About, so you're probably, so this would be a couple of months away.
Okay.
Maybe that's where I was going.
Even though it just was there, it might be that sort of years ago.
On.
Was always there in town for.
She gives you a Dr. Voss gives you a half completed what appears to be a sort of letter that she was sending, sort of detailing what she has learnt of this cult from her readings, and what she thinks might be going on in terms of her deductions. Not that she's, she's not finished it, but she's given you what she's written so far. I think I'll send one down that side.
Is it the same one?
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Cults.
The whole was a terrifying and spiritual attitude. The architect, the crueling chaos.
When Lance reads this, you need to roll Cthulhu Mythos. If you were reading the stuff that Irina gave you, or whether you've just sort of taken it as does and added it to the large collection of other information. So she gave you the letter that she's writing about her involvement with Dr. Crowley to the university. You can open all the books if you want to.
I'm not going to open the book but I'll read this letter.
Okay.
So that's roll the mythos.
You need to roll Mythos, yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Let's sacrifice. Well,
That's what I was saying.
not bad.
so D6.
The relics.
No.
Bad.
If you're reading the letter, you need to take 2 automatically. And from your perspective, this is the missing piece of the conspiracy theory. Is that what she's outlining is this all makes sense now.
Yeah.
This is the big thing in the centre of the nest of red string on the mystery board. It's you knew this was a thing.
Yeah. So I'm losing 2 sanity. So
2, yeah. This is more evidence that there is something here to believe in that is bad and unnatural and definitely bad.
Preposterous.
Preposterous.
Fantastic world.
So at the very least, we know that your friend is in a murdering blood cult. And possibly they're trying to end the world.
It's possible.
It's possible. He's
It's
in a murder.
also possible, however, that my good friend and colleague, Dr. Crowley, has decided to research this cult and therefore joined it under the ruse of joining it to get some information.
Good friend.
Precisely.
Good friend.
I'm good friends with all in the academic community.
And that's what we're going with.
Yes.
Alright.
What would the
My learned peer. Do you have an issue with having friends?
When they're members of blood murdering cults, I try to avoid them. I knew a sailor once liked to poke fish to death. Didn't sail them again.
Interesting.
That was about my
Was
limit.
this before or after the encounter?
Before, that's besides the point. So like,
No, proceed.
nope. It
I'll
reminded
put on
me
my
of
glasses.
nothing.
You can roll a either. No. You can roll a psychology or psycho analysis.
I would love to.
So Crowley's leading the cult to try.
That succeeds.
Maybe all
Honestly,
these people
so
who've gone missing have just
you need
gone
to give
together.
some insight that on a success, the good doctor here may have gleaned about your psychological mental state.
Oh, I think the captain is not a particularly compassionate nor cruel person, but just has a general aversion to violence. Yeah.
I'm loving.
Does that make
You're going to
sense?
be so good when you've got your PhD. It's just like this is like some kind of training run. Look how I steeple my hands
Yeah.
and feel important and academic. I'm going to get you a jacket with patches on the elbows.
I can't wait to get one.
I think sailing attracts a lot of weird, violent people, which freaks Captain Wings out a bit.
I think it's important that you recognize the shortcomings of your peers and do not seek to replicate their behaviors.
That sounds like projection.
Familiarity with Freudian terms. Perhaps some more knowledge than expressed.
Alright,
You actually
so-
writing a book?
Alright,
I'm
so-
writing case studies, that's for sure.
Oh, of course.
The good doctor is still not believing any of this.
Are we going to the dig site? Are we getting
Yeah, I
out of
agree.
town? Are we forwarding this letter through to the university? What's the next move?
Dig site.
Alright.
I take these letters and I put them in a
Just
little
stop by the
manila
hotel
folder.
and pick up the most rifle. Because,
I think
that's
that's
a very safe consideration.
What can we encounter in the woods other than
death cults.
there is no death cult of that, I'm sure. And if there is, it's of no interest to us.
Well, I think there's at least 5 people, not including Crowley, in the cult so far.
You think the disappeared people are in the cult? Oh, I thought they were killed by them.
I reckon they've been taken into the cult. Mind controlled by Crowley.
Maybe. I mean, we had
I agree. It's preposterous.
one of the waitress who talked to the stranger,
Yeah.
travelling salesman, person who worked at the mill,
Did I know the animal attack?
2 interns don't make sense.
I think the animal attacks might just be like he's
Go on.
starting to leak out.
Yeah.
Like this.
Or the blood sacrifice part
Yeah.
of this.
Oh yeah.
It could also be both.
All those people
Something.
sound innocent, untainted, and, well, none of them have dark potential apart from maybe the salesman. They all have potential to be sacrifices. To get him closer to this whatever that he wants to.
And there's also the students who have gone missing.
So we're going to head up to the dig site now that it's nearly night, so we can arrive there just as it gets dark.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Excellent.
I
So
didn't bring a flashlight. Did anyone else?
I don't own a flashlight.
I don't think any of you have got a flashlight.
The light of the moon shall illuminate our path.
You look at the clouds across the sky and go,
Waxing, give us perhaps.
as you head back towards the inn.
Yeah.
As you walk out of town, as you walk out of town back towards the inn, you see this woman sort of frantically knocking on doors, banging on the door in the sheriff's office, and then running across to the diner and banging on that door, and then running across the road to where the woman was, where you put the things down the well, and banging on that door, and she's shouting, "There's in the cellar, in the cellar, in the cellar. There's scratching in the walls, and in the cellar, in the cellar." And then she sort of, and then just sort of heads off back out of town, and sort of,
Classic case projection.
and then banging on these doors and going and knocking on the inn, and you see her sort of heading out towards town.
Should we help the lady or just ignore her? She's crazy.
A person in distress is always in need of help.
Does it look like we can catch her, or is she off?
She has headed back towards. She's heading out. Up towards, so back towards the inn, which is where you were going. So she's heading this way, and then you see her because you're walking in the same direction. She bangs on the door of the inn, bangs on the door here, and then runs into this house, and you hear the door slam, and you hear bolts go across it, and then you hear sort of screaming and curtains shutting and all sorts of stuff happening in that house.
Knocking only this time.
Can I rat-a-tat with my cane on the door?
You can rat-a-tat on your cane on the door. As you're rat-a-tatting, you see the sheriff looking, she's really smart. She looks like a sheriff. She's got a gun holstered at her, but she's just dragging her feet up the path, like, oh God, not again. And she comes and she goes, "It's Elsie's house."
Who's this Elsie?
Elsie is eccentric, I suppose. She's lived here for many years. More recently, she has seemed to go slightly deranged, more confused. She's quite elderly. She runs around screaming about things in her house, things in the walls, things in the cellar. She's pretty harmless, I think. And the sheriff knocks on the door and goes, "Mrs. Bradshaw, are you all right?" And you hear the bolts go back, like hundreds of them, like lots and lots of bolts going back and go back and go back. And this door flies open, and there's this elderly woman with white hair in what you think was probably a bun, but most of it is out. And she's there. She's looking at you. She's going, "They're in the cellar.
What's in the cellar, my dear?
The things are in the cellar. In the cellar."
Do you want us to go check in the cellar? We have guns.
Nobody will check in the cellar. I've been asking everybody in this godforsaken town to sort out my cellar for a week. And she looks at the sheriff, who kind of goes, she has been, like, mentioning the cellar. But, she is often easily confused, and, there's probably nothing.
Did
There's bigger cases, like on my desk and the floor and the wall. You will remember. Sorry, Mrs. Bradshaw, your cellar is very important. Your house is your home, and your castle, yes, cellar, yes.
Seems
Maybe
those
we
files
should-
aren't on your desk anymore, though.
Maybe we should have some tea. And she looks very specifically at the professor and goes, maybe we should have some tea, Mrs. Bradshaw. Tea fixes everything. And she's the cellar, in the walls, in the walls, in the cellar, in the walls. They're in the walls of the cellar, in the walls.
I've seen this before. The mind is often...
Really?
Oh, yes! The
Maybe
mind
it's
is
just
often
Stop loading
represented
my
as a cellar, as a deep subterranean passage. It's easy to mistake the two. Disturbance of the mind is often literalized into the cellar.
Could it help if we showed her the cellar was empty itself?
Why, of course. But we must also investigate her cellar, by which I will talk to her about her mental state.
You talk and we will check the cellar.
Mental contagion in the cellar that makes us fear the cellar.
There's
It'll be
nothing
arranged
in the
in-house.
cellar, my dear.
We could take that chance. Okay, let's go.
Oh my
Probably just
god!
rats.
Sorry, it's just
Look,
just
the
brilliant.
oldest Gothic metaphor for the mind is the subterranean passage. So I'm not just pulling this out of
Not at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely not pulling it out.
Yeah, that was
Definitely.
intentional from her.
100%.
Yeah.
Um,
Right, it's just like the mind is a cellar.
Yes.
cellar.
It is a Gothic trope. Yeah.
Fine. The mind.
I
is
would
the
like to
cellar.
psychoanalyze her while.
Oh,
they check
okay.
the cellar.
She is rocking. She is.
Sorry. I'd like to do psychoanalysis to try and lower her. Like,
Oh, you want to try and treat her?
yeah.
Oh, gee whiz. Okay, so that would be a hard check.
Oh, yeah.
And
So you can roll psycho and
and
so that's a half.
I'll set her down on her couch. I'll take out my little pocket watch.
Oh, you're going to try. Are you trying
Oh, no,
hypnosis
that's
or
a
just
different skill.
calming?
I'll
You
try.
can try. You can try psychoanalysis.
No, we're doing talk therapy.
Okay, you can do talk therapy.
Imagine a river, and upon the river,
You can either roll persuade or psychoanalysis, whichever
I
you
will
would
always
prefer.
choose
Of
psychoanalysis.
course you would. Whichever you would prefer.
77. My threshold is an 81.
yeah, but hard
Half.
Oh,
It's a hard check.
Yeah, no.
No. Okay. She starts screaming. She clutches her head and
The
just
doctor is flying his train
and just she clutches her head and just starts to scream and scream and scream and scream and scream. That's where she's at.
Can I try and hypnotize her into just falling asleep?
Look at the watch! Look at the watch! Stop screaming!
You can try and hypnotise her. That would now be a very hard check. Seeing as she's screaming, which kind of goes against
No,
hypnosis.
I don't think.
That's the
Stop
fifth.
screaming, woman!
Stop screaming! You'll go on watch. The sheriff is just looking at you like you are absolutely both cruel and insane.
Aw.
And he sort of pats her on her shoulder and goes, I am sorry I have not searched your cellar sooner. But yes, let me make you tea. She'll make you tea. And she goes, it's just like, oh my goodness.
Right, I'll be off, and then I'll head down to the cellar.
Okay.
Christ.
Boy, so she's
My
just
subject, my subject file just says untreatable.
okay. Let me just pull Elsie up so that I can screw. So Elsie has just taken. Let's go for that.
This is too tasteless.
Oh, brutal. Elsie's just taken 6 points of sanity damage. Elsie had 8 points of sanity remaining. Wow. So Elsie is hanging on by a thread. Thanks for that.
We haven't, started shoving things through our eyeballs.
No.
Can are we there during this, or is this?
Wait, you can be wherever you want to be. You can either come down the cellar, or you can be watching this in absolute horror. And wondering why you're paying this doctor to fix your health.
I haven't done anything cruel. I tried to talk to her, then I tried to hypnotise her. What's going on?
After the hypnotism fails, can I try to snap her out of it using intimidation?
Snap out of it, woman.
Yes.
Sit on your feet!
Yes, you can. You can roll intimidation.
Success.
Elsie just stops. And she stops, and she salutes.
Excellent work. Where's the cellar?
And she goes, down the stairs!
And then I'll march off towards the cellar.
Mass delusion.
I'll wander off, swaying a little bit as if I'm on a ship.
And she goes, ahoy! And smiles and then sits down. And just sits there.
So someone said that's why
Masterful
why
that.
Captain Jack Sparrow walks like he's drunk all the time. He's used to being shit.
You say masterful.
So, are you heading down the cellar?
Yes.
You open this door. On the outside of this door, so the door this side into the house, there are multiple padlocks, bolts, locks. You don't need to pick them. If you ask Elsie, she points her. She goes and points, and there's a key ring, and the key ring's like this because there are so many locks, and you just find the keys and unbolt this door.
Bring one memories. Good childhood.
Yeah, it's well, you can roll. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a prep and peppin bunker.
Yeah.
It's a prep and peppin bunker, but the locks were on the other side. They weren't on the outside of the bunker. The prep and peppin had his locks on the inside of the bunker. He didn't want to get locked in there by someone else.
Or she doesn't want somebody to get out.
Yeah. Not bad. Yeah.
So as you have you got a light?
Let me see what I've got in my bag.
We had the light of the moon, but now we're inside.
I've got my
You're in a
smoking
cell.
pipe.
Exactly.
Smoking pipe.
Yeah, that's about all I've got.
A gentle fog of smoke fills the staircase down into the dark cellar. You feel around. There isn't any electricity going down into this cellar.
Oil lamp, maybe?
If you go back, there is an oil lamp in the kitchen that's not lit. There's one that is lit in the living room because all the windows are curtained and some are barricaded shut from the inside. But there is an oil lamp that you can take there.
Let's grab that, light it.
Okay. So you head down the stairs, and you get about halfway down the flight of stairs, looking down into this cellar, and you look down, and the floor of this cellar, a small. This is a small townhouse. This isn't a big sort of mansion. The floor is completely moving. There are hundreds of rats.
Apologies, rat problem.
Hundreds of them.
That's a really bad
And spot hidden for whoever's looking. There's hundreds of rats.
They're all war.
Success.
Oh, also success.
You see that these rats are swarming, but they are not in a mass. They are swarming in geometric patterns, forming symbols, and then reamassing, and then forming a different symbol, and then reamassing, kind of like an Olympic opening ceremony number, but with rats.
Draw the symbols in my diary?
Yes, you can.
As they're making.
So you are just watching the rats and drawing out the symbols.
Can I make
Okay.
a mythos check to see if I recognise the symbol?
You can rate an occult check to see whether or not.
Nope.
I can also do.
I'm on.
Occult? Yeah, you can do any check. It just if you've
Can
got
I do
if you've got
anthropology?
anthropology. How would you like to use
Like
anthropology?
you're getting a zero on the detail.
Maybe these symbols have appeared somewhere in
Anthropology.
history. Yeah, throughout history, different cultures. Perhaps.
You could do.
Could I use archaeology?
No, you can use anthropology, but it would be very hard. You could do a straight occult.
Can I go for a
My occult is 30. I got a 14.
Okay, you recognise a 14. Yeah, you recognise some of these symbols. These are symbols that you have seen in Preppin Pepin's books of preparing for the end of the world. You recognise, as some of it with the rats, but particularly as the Doctor is drawing the symbols, you're recognising some of these symbols as things that were in your dad's notebook about preparing for the end of the world. That these were related in some way to the end of the world.
Do you share that knowledge?
Yeah, I think I will. I think I'm just gonna point at the Doctor's notebook and be like, I know those symbols.
Your father.
Who else? Yes, my father.
Who do you believe to be? Oh, the poor one.
Can I oil lamp, right? So there's a little bit of oil.
Yep.
The canister of oil down the bottom
Yep.
burns the top.
Yes.
Can I undo the canister and tip a little oil down there?
Yeah.
And then I'll just snatch the Doctor's cigar out of the earth and throw it down there.
You set it on fire.
The Doctor's got a pipe.
Just
So you know, he's chucking the pipe in there.
And I won't.
You can if you like.
I don't just a whole pipe oil, just go like yoink and then set the ashes down there. Not a lot of oil, just enough that it lights a rat or two on fire. I just want to see what they do.
Did
Okay.
you not just 2 seconds ago say the captain hates people that use violence and
Yeah.
tell the story of the stabbing eye?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a diagnostic tool.
You
This is a diagnostic tool.
roll a
We're all sitting rats on fire.
you could roll animal handling.
Thing in this?
Yes, it is.
I'm not seeing it.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is. It's got a funny name. Let me see. No, it sits with one of
Natural World?
Natural World.
Oh, I'm actually kind of still with that. I've
Yeah.
got some points of natural world.
It sits under Natural World. This whole left.
Wonderful. I've got 20
Sorry.
for natural world. It's 26 on the dice though, so not quite.
Okay, so you throw this down.
Mm.
You set 3 or 4 of these rats on fire,
Mm.
and the rats continue to swarm in and out of these sort of fixed patterns.
Mm.
You can't discern any sort of change in behaviour.
It's not natural.
You also think that the eyes of these rats are not natural.
They're watching us.
Can I run upstairs? It's a bit much.
It's a bit much.
There are rats in a zone and they're making symbols that she's seen. She's not going to be sitting here like this.
So you're going back up the stairs.
Just I'm running
You're
up,
going
I'm
for
like,
tea.
I'm going to have tea.
Okay, so you're going for tea. Okay, Elsie, there's rats in your cellar.
Yeah, I was going to come back up and say that. Yeah, you got a really bad rat.
You got her up. You just saw some crap.
When
Can I throw a prune down into the rat swarm?
a prune, go for
Are we
your
trying
life.
to disturb their little tiny symbol?
Just looking for food.
You throw a prune down. An area of rats Roll spot hidden.
Failure.
There's, as you throw the broom, the rats move away to the edge of the room and then move around, like almost like they're playing Ring of Roses around the broom, and then they go back to their. Anybody who's watching that can roll spot hidden.
Success.
You notice that there's markings on the floor. You think they're actually lining up on these. That this is somehow scratched or engraved into the floor of the cellar, and they're just running along the lines.
Oh, it's something.
Someone put a dodgy sample in the cellar.
Yeah, and it's engraved in, so we can't just like wipe it off.
Yeah. You roll, what did you get on your on your spot hidden?
54, and my spot hidden is 80.
Okay. What's your half? 40. So it wasn't half. Yeah,
Not
that's fine.
quite a half.
No. Okay.
It was one of my recommendations.
You've bailed.
Yeah, I failed. Yeah.
What? So you've both bailed. So you're back with Elsie and the sheriff. Elsie is now somehow manages to think that she's on a boat, and she's just sitting there like this on the boat.
I could write a paper about that. I'm just staring at the rats.
I think we really need to stop.
They're in there.
What?
Stop. What you got to say? Summoning and demon failing
I think we go tonight.
tonight. Yeah, sounds good. We might see one of the rituals up close.
And we've got an oil lamp there.
Stealing the poor
Can
woman's
I?
lamp. Yeah.
Can I try and break? Like, are they tiles on the floor?
Yeah, it's sort of stone. It's almost like stone pavers.
Can I try and break one of the pavers or remove it from the?
How?
I've got a cane.
Yeah.
Could I either get the top of my cane and kind of leverage up the?
Which one are you trying to aim for? I'm
Any
just trying to
one.
work out where you are in relation to the swarm of rats all over the floor.
Oh, I'll stand.
Are
On
you
the
like?
bottom
Are you
step
doing
and I'll, like-
you're doing an outside one, or trying to get one out of the middle?
Yeah, one of the ones that had the etching on it.
Okay. Let's see. You can roll.
Either that, or I'll just try and smash a tile.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You can roll. Let's go with. It would be sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Oh, not too bad.
Not my best. But somehow I succeeded.
Okay. You
That's a
You-
6.
watch the good doctor with pipe in the corner of the mouth.
Can I say that my cane's got one of those little sword cane? It doesn't
Yep.
do any damage, but
No,
I just
go
use
for it.
that to.
Yep. Okay. I think
It's a
it's
letter
almost
opener cane.
more.
Yeah,
A letter opening cane, or more like it's got one of those little grabby hands that people use to
Yeah.
help put their socks on when they
Yes.
can't bend over.
Yes, like a shoehorn.
Like a
type thing.
shoehorn
Yep.
cane.
I love it.
A really useful, adaptable cane. I can also get my boots on with this, you know.
It's quite good when one's getting a touch of the gout.
So you watch this very sort of austere professor balance, almost like a ballerina, on one foot, holding on to the sort of balustrade rail
Doc, you want a hand
with
there?
shoehorn cane extended, and
Fencing 1913.
you're a university fencing champion. Is that okay? You explain to me how you are a university fencing champion. Stop.
You see, my brother was a fencing champion. I wasn't much myself, but I took an interest in the sport, and I could replicate the forms.
Okay, you can add a 20%. So under fighting brawl, there's a spare one, so you can have rapier fencing. And you can have 20% for rapier fencing because you have flourishing skills, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to do a great deal of damage because there'd be a lot of
Lovely.
flourishing and
So
trying to
20%?
nudge you in the chest. 20%. And you can have fencing
No, I'm
skills.
in my 16. When I was at Edinburgh, I was part of the local fencing guild.
So you were born in 1860. We're in the 20s.
Yes, 1883 fencing.
1883 fencing tournament.
Mental to think about. More than 20 years after the end of the Industrial Revolution, yeah.
Close. Time is fluid. You hold on. You find old postures.
A
Nobody.
few things crack that.
There's
you
a
know,
few
you
things
never used
cracked
to.
that haven't cracked for a while. You hook your foot and one hand onto the bottom of the balustrade and lean out with sword, cane, shoehorn on riposte.
Yeah.
And
On guard.
and lean forward and flick and into the centre of this rat pile by the prune. Which they appear to be avoiding, which is handy. And you successfully lift the edge of one of these tiles and flip it over. And there is a small sort of cavity underneath.
Nothing happens to the rat swarm.
The rats seeming to stay away from this area. They're trying to form these lines, some of which are now disrupted,
Nice.
but they are staying away from the prune and away from the hole in the ground. So they're starting to mainly form, this sort of circle.
My
between-
work's done. And I'll
Could I see this happen?
I know you went upstairs.
Oh, there are floors.
You went, and it's down a cellar.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think I'm
It's
the
like
only other
sometimes
person.
Cellars are
These
generally
are-
under the house.
And I am too
Yeah.
stunned
I
to
was
see.
just thinking about like a house where you could see down the staircase.
If you were standing at the top of the staircase as opposed to going to it. Yep. So no, you've not seen them. So there is an impressive display of fencing with a shoehorn that has been largely missed by.
Bummer.
Like all of my best works, disregarded by the academy. Chased by nobody, really.
Oh, goodness me.
I'll
So
make my way upstairs.
you'll go back upstairs.
Yeah.
As you all come back upstairs, and the last of you comes through, Elsie comes over, and you see her march in a very official and take the keys and start from the top, putting all the things
Keep the
back.
scope, sailor. There's a terrible plague down there.
Yes, sir. And she keeps locking all the doors on this door. You can roll occult in terms of trying to figure out what might be going on down there. You certainly know there's something under the floor.
Yeah.
Any way to provide assistance?
Yeah, if you can explain how you're providing assistance, whether you've got books or whether you're prompting in terms of where you've seen those symbols that your
I've got that book.
dad wrote, you can say, he was preparing for this thing at the end of the world, and these are the things that he said were going to happen, and that can provide assistance, so you can roll with advantage.
I have Azeloth and others. Can I look for, like, in the index rats or anything?
Does it have an index?
Does it have an index?
Does this ancient tome of Eldritch Horror contain the
does.
index?
It's called Azeloth and others. That seems like a handy guide to, post-colonial studies. I don't know.
I'll lean over and say, I've never seen rats do that. It's as much as I get for assistance. I've got nothing in.
Yeah, I'd be a little concerned if you had seen rats do that.
So do you explain where you've seen these symbols and what you think? You can roll with the advantage you've got. You open the tome and all you hear is scratching and screaming. Roll 1d6.
I'm gonna die.
So you look for the index.
You've got maximum current.
Oh yeah.
All you can hear is this sort of screaming. Nobody else can hear anything. You just see the professor looking
screaming.
looking for the index of this book. But in your head, all you can hear is and screaming. This sort of hollow scream.
I was just trying to help you on your check, but you know.
If you can roll check with advantage, there's lots of people providing random assistance.
No.
Okay. So you have no idea. Rats have never done this. There is something fucking shit going on in this cellar.
Yeah.
Elsie may or may not know what it is. She may or may not be involved. Maybe she's in the death cult. Who knows?
I think we bail.
Sorry, Elsie. We're off.
We'll stop the horn one from coming through.
I leave my business card on the mantelpiece.
When do you say that?
Yeah.
When you say that, what you hear is this huge scurrying, and you just hear what sounds like thousands of tiny claws on the back of the cellar door.
What did you say?
We'll stop the horn one from coming back.
It wasn't working though. Poor Elsie.
Poor Elsie.
You're just starting to calm down.
Yeah, Elsie is backing away where she's like halfway done with all the locks and is backing away going,
You know, sometimes I would suggest exposure therapy for this kind of thing, but I advise you don't open that door. And then I'll leave.
Thanks for your expertise. Don't open the door.
you see one rat coming through the side of the wall.
I'm gonna yell out, "Belay that! Fix those ropes, sailors! Lock that door!"
She wrote intimidation with advantage.
I'm gonna take a pot shot at that rat.
Good
Success on the first one, so you have a crit
I
everything.
would. I don't think I have
No, success.
She goes, "Yes, sir!" and starts like this.
Steady on! Steady
With
on!
her 2 sanity points, trying to lock the door. This poor white-haired elderly woman
Who now thinks she's a sailor.
desperately trying to do as she's been ordered. And at this point, the sheriff is just sitting there going, I'm going to take all my work. I'm going to take it back to my office. It's fine. Yeah, there is one rat now in the hall.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot it.
You're going to shoot the rat. Okay, go for it.
So I just make an attack roll to firearm thing.
What's your dex?
My dex is 55.
Oh, excellent. The rat goes first. Love combat.
The professor runs out the door.
Not until his turn, he doesn't.
The rat is at sea. It's gonna rip fighting. Oh, there we go. Oh, God, I never used D10s. Where are my D10s? Those ones. Down the eyeballs. So these rats come at you, and they hit. Awesome. So you take 3 points of bite damage.
Don't we get to defend or something like that?
You can try and defend or dodge.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So you can choose to. You can choose to fight back. You can choose to dodge. Yeah. So it's all attack rolls are contested rolls. So this rat's going to try and bite you. You can choose to dodge. You can choose to fight back. You could try to maneuver the fuck away. Yeah? Those are your options at this point. What would you like to do with this?
Fight back.
Of course.
You're gonna die to a rat.
So you roll your attack
That's the hit. First success I got.
with a
39 was what I rolled, and my attack is 71.
So your success is bigger than its success, so you hit it.
Okay.
So you can roll damage on the rat.
That'll kill any of us so dead.
It would.
Holy shit, I rolled 2 crits as well.
2 6s.
That's 16 damage.
Okay.
This rat is
Yeah.
like
The average hit points per rat.
This one.
So this how you stand there like Elmer Fudd in Bugs Bunny with this giant rifle with this tiny rat that comes out
It's lower than game.
and it's got these big glowing red eyes and these long teeth, and it comes at you and you just blow it to pieces. There is rat all over the hall, up the walls, all over the place. Elsie's like this with her hair, desperately trying to lock the door as the gun goes off, and she is trying to work out whether to hold her ears or lift her skirt up a little bit or lock the door. There's too many things going on at the same time. Elsie's going to roll to see whether she can retain her one remaining sanity point.
Oh no!
I
Can I
know.
provide words of encouragement?
Are you going to try and help? Are you going to try and help her retain her sanity? How are
I
you
would
going
like
to
to-
try?
Steady on!
You're going to try and intimidate her,
Absolutely.
or is that charm? Hard to tell. Intimidate. Okay, you can try and intimidate her.
49, so another success.
Okay, so
I
she
put
can
70
roll.
Points. Sorry, I put 70 points into intimidate. I'm going to use it whenever I can.
She can roll her sanity with. Oh, let's see. She loses 1 sanity point.
No!
She's down to 1. She's down to 1. Basically, just driving Elsie even more mad. She's down to 1 remaining sanity point, but she's still there. She's holding it, going, "Yes, sir! Yes, sir!" And she's locking this door, and she's shaking slightly like this. There appear to be no more rats. There is a slight hole in the wooden, sort of the wooden floor of the top floor of her house where your bullet went through the rat and took a chunk out of the floor and then embedded itself in the sort of stucco plasterwork of the lower hallway. Elsie manages to, over the next few minutes of you watching, secure her cellar against the imminent horde
Of presumably murderous rats.
murderers.
Yeah, let's get out of here. We're only making things worse. That's not
Come on, say that with me! We're not leaving here, are we?
No.
I say all of that loud.
Yes, sir! She
Yeah,
turns
probably.
around and she
Double time!
she marches out of her house.
I've never worked in the military.
She marches out of her house. She marches out of her house with you, and the sheriff goes, Elsie's son was he was in the Navy, so she spoke of him, and as you leave, as you
He lives in the basement.
as you're leaving, the sheriff points and goes, "That's him." And she points to his photo up on the wall, and there's a guy in a naval uniform saluting. It looks like he was in the Royal Navy as opposed to Merchant Navy, but in a naval uniform with his sort of bell bottoms on and his hat, and a sort of less sick looking younger Elsie standing very proudly next to him on the sort of on the mantle. And as Elsie smartly marches out of her house after you, so you stand, 4 of you and Elsie.
Lovely.
We should send her back to the hotel.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to just take somebody's room, and we're not taking it to the big side.
I think we should take us.
Elsie, 1 sanity point.
We can give it to the cult.
Bradshaw.
We can give it to the cult. Do you say that out loud?
I feel like she's just going to see a bat.
Is that an
flying
inside
above
thought?
and just
Oh,
drop.
absolutely.
Inside.
Inside.
We'll drop her off at the hotel.
Okay, so
Head off.
I'll give her my bed to rest in.
I will give out mine, but my room's full of suitcases. I promise I'm not.
you take her back, and you say to the sheriff, "We'll look after her." And the sheriff looks sceptical, but has a lot of work and turns reluctantly, hard to know, and goes back into town. And Elsie smartly marches across the road from her house to the Forest View Inn. Behind the desk is Clara Wilkins, who obviously runs the inn, and you've taken all her rooms. And in you walk with the lady from across the road, who's notoriously bad and runs around banging on people's doors at all times of the day and night.
I'll go up to Clara and I'll say in a hushed voice,
This lovely woman here is going to be a patient of mine. I'd like to keep her under observation in my chambers.
There are already 2 people in your chambers. And...
I don't need them tonight. I'll be out.
Okay.
She has a rat problem, so.
Has she brought them with us?
No, of course not.
No.
The rats are in her mind.
They're in her cellar.
Yes, but now they're in her mind.
She just needs a room.
And
One
you
got
can
out,
do
but I obliterated.
Don't worry,
You can all roll separate bloody checks because there is no help going on here. You can roll persuade or charm. You can roll fast talk because you are trying to deceive her that this woman is a patient and you're bringing her in for observation while at the same time going out. So
if we're all being
you're
unhelpful
doing
anyway,
some kind of remote observation.
if we're all being unhelpful, can I slam my fist into the desk?
And you can
Just give her
intimidate.
the bloody room!
What am I rolling? Am I rolling?
You can choose whatever you like. So there's charm, persuade.
Do I get advantage because she's always on the hot one?
You can have advantage on charm.
can I not use psychology for this?
You can
Oh,
use
yeah.
psychology to know how she's
6.
reacting to this.
Well, I failed. Just
I succeeded in charm.
You should succeed
Same,
in charm.
I did.
You
My
succeed
first
in
one was
charm.
65,
It's
I
a,
got
it's
28.
a new form of treatment that involves me leaving her for a while and then coming back.
Did you fail on?
Very confinement.
Did you fail on fast talk?
Yeah.
Okay. She goes. She leans over and she goes, was the good professor like this before he came to Ravenswood, or is this the strange effect of being? You're right. Is this the strange effect of being in the town?
He was strange before, but I think he's starting to look.
I'm not losing it. I'm just trying to teach new psychology to
can't
these
understand.
Philistines.
Okay. So
Some
You-
people can't help the sci-fi, the dimension traveling ancient aliens. They just can't handle it. Like I can. Rifle. No rats in here, is there?
Yeah, I think it's a real.
okay, so you're leaving. Okay. Clara goes. Okay.
Forget about Clara. Someone's in your bed. Bang!
So you're leaving her with me in her room. Your room?
My bed! My room!
in
I'm
your-
not coming back! Give her a cup of tea! Run a hot bath!
She does like tea.
Yeah, he'll probably be insane by the time.
And if she starts going a little bit, you could just say, "Oh, I say that!" and she'll go right back.
Improvement strategy.
We've tested it.
I hand her the case notes that I've written about her.
It's a new psychology theory.
Well, with all due respect, we are
I think
We
we're
are-
calling it naval psychosis.
we are a hotelier establishment and not a sanatorium.
It's only for the night. Don't worry.
I have run this hotel for generations. My father before me and his father before him, and we have never been a sanatorium, and I am no nursemaid. I will give her a calming draught. I may have some, and so a tincture and a cup of tea. I will place her in your bed. On the grounds you are not returning tonight because
No, certainly not.
okay.
I'm not sleeping any night in this bloody town.
You doing okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I need to find a library.
I don't think we can find a therapist. Maybe one that's actually good.
I'm on 34. I'm alright.
I'm doing worse than you.
Yeah.
I
I've lost quite a few since we
I'm
started.
on
yeah, you
26.
definitely started more sanity,
Uh,
but I know as soon as I see some kind of creature, I'm going
Um,
to break down to 20.
inspiration does not technically exist in Cthulhu, but I think I'm comfortable giving inspiration, and I think I will give inspiration for the commitment to academic kerfuffle and fencing with a shoehorn. I will give inspiration for intimidating the crap out of an elderly lady who's nearly insane into believing that she is actually in the Navy. I will give inspiration for choosing in a house full of artifacts and books and other knowledge for investigating a bathroom and seeing what you can discern from the hairbrush and other utensils within. And the rings around the bath. And I will give inspiration for kicking down a door to somebody's bedroom and going, there's somebody in here. And then blasting the crap out of a single rat with an Elmer Fudd-sized rifle at point blank range. Overall. Okay. Good to know. Right. You go to the dig site.
Yeah, why not?
What could go wrong? All right then.
Proven fucking gun shooting skills. Did I still take the damage from the rat?
No. So combat is always contested. So you can either contest an attack, with a dodge, or with some kind of maneuver. Like I'm going to try and vault out the way, or vault off the roof, or slide into somebody's legs, and depending on the relative success of the rolls depends on the outcome of the combat round. So all combat is contested. So what we have learned is point blank rifle
Kills a rat.
versus rat
Versus a single rope.
tends to come out in favour of the rat. Well, if it in terms of dead, yes. Okay, so you're heading out to the dig site.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're walking out towards further north along this path to the edge of the forest. As you head out, you look across. So looking sort of across the edge of the forest to the other path. You can see a whole pack, like 15, 20 dogs sort of coming into the outskirts of town down the northern path.
Are they coming towards us?
No, they're not. You can just see them across the land. So over this sort of area here, coming down this path into town, you can see this. It looks like every stray dog from 20 miles has formed some kind of canine pack on the outskirts of this town. They are patrolling up and down that sort of northern road going up to the edge of those woods. They move. Roll either natural world or spot hidden or occult, whichever you prefer.
Success on spot.
Okay. You see that they are almost. What did you roll?
28 on the spot hidden. I got 40.
Okay. So what you see is these animals are moving almost like one animal. So this isn't. It's a big pack. You've not seen this many stray dogs. This is quite a well-kept town, and these are mangy beasts. They're not wolves. This just looks like stray animals. But they're moving entirely in unison, like they have one set of legs. And when they turn as one beast, even though there's this huge ranged pack of them. And with the spot hidden, what you see is even when they're not walking in the same direction, their legs move in the same direction. So the movement, so they're moving down. They're all facing in different directions, but when they move as one down the road. And the ones that are facing the wrong direction, their legs just move in the same direction as everyone else. So awful disconnected. So that's coming down this road. Just, for shits. You want to go that way, which is the way you'll go. As you are heading out, you follow this winding path right up to the edge of the forest. And when you get right up to the edge, you can see that the path does go through the forest, but the trees are dense.
Yeah.
The trees are dense and thick, and the path almost winds through the roots of these trees. So you can see a path. There's definitely a trodden path through here, but none of either these trees, which seem old and large, they don't seem newly planted. They seem ancient. Either have grown through the path, on the path, round the path was never there, but is there. You can't quite work out how this path works through these trees, but it's definitely there.
Keep your eyes about you.
You roll history.
There's nothing in the woods. It's simply the sight of our repressed desires and fears. Big bad.
You're just freaked out by the whole thing. You, Professor, you notice that these glowing marks on these trees are the same as the glowing marks that you are the same as the lines that are scratched into the cellar. So you draw you don't need to roll a check for that. You just draw the book out, and the markings on the trees. You're right. You're choking yourself. The markings on the trees are the same as the markings on the floor in the cellar.
Would I not know that?
Oh,
Yeah, if you can I think you're slightly freaked out, but if you recognise them the first time, so you can recognise them again as the same symbols.
Is there any way we can destroy the symbols on the trees?
Oh, you can try.
Hypothetically speaking, of course. These notes here spoke of eldritch symbols and some strange occult nonsense, but
Roll listen.
I believe someone may be trying to emulate some kind of cult ritual, and by destroying these symbols we may sever the semblance of their ritual. It's not true, of course.
Listen? No? There's a lot of chatter. You can roll listen if you want to.
Can I?
Sort of auditory perception.
Oh, I succeed. I've got 7.
Yeah, you've got the
You can hear whispers coming from the forest in a language that you don't know.
Captain, what are you saying?
I just went coffee.
What are you saying, Captain?
I didn't say anything. What?
You were whispering.
I don't talk to myself. I wasn't saying anything. Did you hear something?
Tricks on the old professor. Traumatized psychologist.
Are we still in the forest?
Right on the edge of the forest. You've not really gone a huge amount into
There's
the forest
nothing
yet.
In the forest, and I'll start walking.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's probably just the wind, but I will follow you in. We're both non-believers. Do I have my shotgun?
Pistol out.
Not.
Did you pick it up from the... You'd have it if you went back to the...
Oh, I suppose, yes.
You went back to the
Probably.
hotel. I would suggest that you would
I
probably
would
pick up the shotgun before you go adventuring into the woods.
Be my best friend.
So, are you going deeper into the woods?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's follow what we can of the path.
You follow as you walk further and further into the woods. It gets colder, unnaturally cold. There's a mist clinging to the ground. There's no rain. Just unlike nobody's ever been through here. You can hear the odd sound of the sort of cawing of crows or birds in the trees, and this sort of smell of damp earth and this odd metallic scent that you can't quite identify. As you walk through the wood, you eventually come out into a clearing in the forest. There's what appears to be an excavation in the center. There's it is dirty and quiet. It's unnaturally quiet. There appears to be nobody here that you can immediately see, and no sort of activity. There's a relatively deep hole. There's some makeshift scaffolding around the place, and then there's some sort of stone ruins that are sort of partially unearthed. And on the walls of the ruins, you can see this sort of strange markings that are just pulsing faintly with this sort of purple yellow light along the edges of the dig site.
Is there a tent or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a couple of tents. There's
check out the tents.
okay. So there's a large tent, and then there's some sort of smaller tents, and then what looks like a sort of maybe almost like a sort of makeshift shack, like almost a shed. Where are you heading?
I'll have a look in the large tent.
In the large tent. So you head out to this tent. It's absolutely, it appears to be empty. It is absolutely full of notes and maps and sort of trowels and like the sieves that you'd use for prospecting and the pans and then dusters and equipment. It looks like it's been turned over. There's papers scattered absolutely everywhere. There's you could spot hidden, see if you can find anything.
Could I use archaeology instead?
Not for this. This is seeing if you can find anything in the tent. You can use archaeology on the dig site if you want.
Success. I got a 7.
Okay. Wow. You see a couple of things. You can see what appear to be notes in the same hand as the notes that you found at the house. Same handwriting. Talking about there's a potential a bridge to a different world. We can make a bridge, and then again Lima and New York and sort of these places. Perth,
Australia.
You ask, or sort of.
Oh, sorry, I've just
Lima?
Australia mentioned. Wow.
Yes, Lima,
I think
Perth.
it's Sydney, but Australia's in
Other five.
Are there others?
There's one name of a town that you don't recognise, but would be. It sounds like it would be an English place of some bit, but you live in England, and it's not a place name that you would immediately recognise. So there's somewhere in England, Egypt.
I've got navigation. Can I either go to see if I know where it is?
Yeah. Found your map.
That's 5, like the 5 points of the
No,
pentagram.
unfortunately not.
Sorry, what was that?
Fail.
Okay.
Can I
You-
see what I find?
You've got it then.
Yes, you can keep looking. So you find a whole list of place names and notes about possible cult activity in these place names. You find
Do you know what I wrote?
what did you roll?
I rolled a 1.
A 1.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh
Even
wow!
better than mine.
You
Five.
with a 1 on spot hidden, you see footprints.
Uh-oh.
And you can see footprints going that would appear to be you can ascertain this is a man's footprint, and they're wearing boots. You would know that because shoes are your thing. Shoes are your thing. You think that this is a man who was in a hurry, and it looks like he was heading over towards the shed on the far side of the dig site.
Okay.
It's very dusty and very muddy, and you can spot them in the trail while everybody's looking at papers and details.
Okay, cool. Well,
Okay.
Tell them.
Are you going to tell them, or are you going to follow them?
Well, I'm not going to keep it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the first one on the shoulder.
Yes.
There are footprints. Someone is wearing boots, and they went that way. And I point to the shed. I think we should go.
I'll put my little glasses on and I'll say, very perceptive.
Thank you. Write that down.
Write down what?
And then I'm very perceptive. I just need something positive because you've been writing a lot of stuff about me.
Narcissistic and overbearing attention to detail.
Harsh.
Very
I'm talking
perceptive.
about my father a lot. It's a positive reinforcement.
So you, the only other things you really find in this shed, there's notes about watchers at night. Watchers at night, every night, all night. Watchers in the woods. Watchers all night, every week, every night. Watchers in the wood. Watchers.
But people watching them.
Watchers in the wood every night.
Right.
All night, every night. Night.
Yeah,
Watchers.
because I was thinking watches or like they're watching,
Woods
they're
are
on
ticking.
watch or watchers.
Spelled WATCHERS. Watchers.
Yeah.
You
Common
clarify that.
phenomenon of those who find themselves in the woods for an extended period.
And then
They see eyes everywhere.
whispers.
Not
Whispers.
wrong.
Whispers in the shadows. Whispers everywhere. Whispers in the shadows. Whispers too far. Too far. Whispers too far. Whispers in the shadows too far. Whispers.
Well,
Sorry, is this a note?
There are just scrawled notes. So where the house had things that it was chaotic, but there were sentences. This is just stuff scrawled on the back of envelopes and bits of paper and everything. Yeah, and lots of rooms in alignment and drawings of odd statues, and then too far, and then sort of scratched out and thrown across the room. There's a map of the forest, and there's on the map of the forest, it has the dig site marked on the map, and it appears to be around through the trees on the far edge of this follow appears to be cliff. So we'll finish in a second.
Is
The
that-
cliff falls off on the far side. So you think on the
Is that
far
where the
side.
footprints are going, or the other side?
So they're going to the other side of the dig site. But you think on the other side of this sort of tree line, according to this map, is what appears to be a bottomless cliff, which doesn't really make sense. Sort of, you live in England, there wouldn't. Why would there be a giant? You don't know of any canyons or gorges or anything that would fit that description in here, but it's clearly marked on the map. And then there's lots of lines going out across that cliff edge, and then to a single point, and there's lines radiating out from all around it, going through the dig site and then back into Ravenswood.
How many lines?
Just lots. It's almost like somebody's just drawn like degrees on a protractor the way around this thing that would appear to be from where you are further through on the side of the cliffs. So if you were carried on to the northeast, if you went just straight north, it would appear that you would plunge into absolute nothingness just on the other side of the tree line.
It's worth a look.
There's a huge mirror just in shards all over the floor, with fingerprints. And you could roll. You got one on spot hidden. The fingerprints look like they're made of smoke or ash.
Huh?
Hasn't someone burned something and then touched the mirror?
So it's fingerprints on these shards of mirror on the floor, and it looks like they're fingerprints in smoke or ash. There you go. Now you go to follow the footprints. If you go follow the footprints, then I would probably say we'll tide it over, because otherwise we're going to run late, and you've got work tomorrow.
Yeah. But that's
And you've got school tomorrow.
I've got school.
And we've got Aurora tomorrow night.
The singer? Aurora?
Yes.
Oh,
I
nice.
love Aurora.
Yeah, same. I didn't know she was performing.
actually have to go to this concert as opposed to buy tickets and then forget about it, which is what I've done relatively reliably.
Yes.
Yes.
Kids aren't going to Flaming Lips.
Oh no, it was all a disaster.
Thank you so much, Emma. That was
No worries. I have never seen somebody